Alright, so in this video, I'm going to solve the equation x to the power of 4 is equal to 1. So to solve this, I need to find the value of x. So I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. So I get x to the power of 4 minus 1 is equal to 0. Now from here, I'm going to rewrite this as x to the power of 2 times 2 minus 1 to the power of 2 is equal to 0. And the reason I did this is because now I can use the property a to the power of m times n is equal to a to the power of m to the power of n. So in this case, x to the power of 2 times 2 is equal to x to the power of 2 to the power of 2. So I have x to the power of 2 to the power of 2 minus 1 to the power of 2 is equal to 0. And now another property I can use is a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So in this case, a is x squared and b is 1. So I get x squared plus 1 times x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. Now this gives me two equations. I get x squared plus 1 is equal to 0 and x squared minus 1 equals 0. So let's first solve x squared minus 1 equals 0 because it's more simpler than x squared plus 1 equals 0. To solve this, I'm going to first add 1 on both sides. So I get x squared is equal to 1. And now I'm going to take the square root on both sides. Square root of x squared is x, and I get x equals positive or negative 1. Now for x squared plus 1 equals 0, I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. So I get x squared is equal to negative 1. I'm going to again take the square root on both sides, but this time I get x is equal to positive or negative square root of negative 1. Now if you guys already know, the square root of negative 1 is equal to I. So I get x is equal to positive or negative I. So my four solutions to this problem are x equals 1, x equals negative 1, x equals positive I, and finally x equals negative I. So please make sure to like the video, subscribe, and please also share this video to your friends if you liked it. Thank you. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to solve the equation x to the power of 12 minus 1 is equal to 0. So to solve this, I'm going to first rewrite this as x to the power of 6 to the power of 2 minus 1 squared is equal to 0. And the reason I'm doing this is so I can use the property a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So this turns into x to the power of 6 plus 1 times x to the power of 6 minus 1 is equal to 0. So this gives me two equations. I get x to the power of 6 plus 1 equals 0, and x to the power of 6 minus 1 equals 0. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to rewrite x to the power of 6 minus 1 equals 0 as x to the power of 3 to the power of 2 minus 1 squared is equal to 0. So I can use this property again and get x to the power of 3 plus 1 times x to the power of 3 minus 1 is equal to 0. Now, for x to the power of 3 minus 1 equals 0, I'm going to rewrite this as x to the power of 3 minus 1 to the power of 3 equals 0, so I can use the property a to the power of 3 minus b to the power of 3 is equal to a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. So this turns into a minus b times a squared plus a plus 1 is equal to 0. Sorry, this turns into x minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 0, which gives me yet another two equations. So now I have x minus 1 equals 0 and x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0. So for x minus 1 equals 0, all I have to do is add 1 on both sides, and I get x is equal to 1. And for x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0, I can use the quadratic formula. So by using it, I get x is equal to -1 plus or minus the square root of 3i over 2. So these are two more solutions. And now we aren't done yet because we also have to solve these. So now I have x to the power of 3 plus 1 is equal to 0. And I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, so I get x to the power of 3 is equal to -1, meaning x is also equal to -1. So this is another solution. Now for x to the power of 6 plus 1 equals 0, I'm going to again subtract 1 on both sides. So I get x to the power of 6 is equal to -1, and if I take the 6th root, I get x is equal to 6th root of -1, which is equal to -1 to the power of 1 over 6. So now, the 6th root of -1 is, say, we know that I is equal to the square root of -1, which is equal to -1 to the power of 1/2. So -1 to the power of 1 over 6 is the same thing as -1 to the power of 1/2 minus something. So now 1 over 6, or I should say 1/2 minus 1 over 6 is equal to 1 over 3. So 1 over 6 plus 1 over 3 is equal to 1/2. We know this, meaning we have -1 to the power of 1 over 6 and this plus, or sorry, 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3 is what we can rewrite 1 over 6 as. Now, this is the same thing as 1/2 plus -1 over 3. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m plus n, this is equal to a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So this is going to equal -1 to the power of 1/2 times -1 to the power of -1 over 3. -1 to the power of 1/2 is the square root of -1, which is equal to I. So we get I times -1 to the power of -1 over 3, which is the same thing as 1 over -1 to the power of 1 over 3, which is equal to -1. So I get I times -1, which is equal to -I, which is my final solution.